ITFM – радио вашего настроения. It all started with my mom and my dad. They fell in love and they had me. Hi, my name is Arina and my life is kinda crazy. Back in 1963, in a Soviet village Ключевое, one adorable boy saw this world for the first time. Everyone calls him Arina Yerdinbekova now, but that's not what was initially planned. Maternity hospital apparently is such a loud place, so when a mother shouted with an amazement in her voice, "It's Berik Yerdinbekov, my beautiful baby!" A nurse could barely hear that and nervously asked, "What's his name once again?" "It's Berik Yerdinbekov," the newly minted mother replied in a very confident manner. That nurse, with a smile which was hiding awkwardness and stress, nodded her head and started to fill the documents. Not willing to bother the mother, she wrote Berik Yerdinbekov, quickly finished the procedure and left the ward. 2 days later, when it was time to leave the hospital, the nurse and the doctor congratulated the family with a newborn and solemnly handed over the documents of a new comrade of Soviet Union, Berik Yerdinbekov. The parents' smile gradually turned into confusion after what they have seen. Well, my pretty, like it or not, bury you ought.
Much later.
10 years later, in 1973, in a big Apple city, Almaty, a Ukrainian family, Gurillo, was expecting a second baby girl, Svetlana. I have no thrilling narrative here because there is no reasonable excuse on how the nurses could have messed up a last name Gurillo with Pagarelova. But they did.
Eventually.
After 17 years, Serik, who is also Berik, and Sveta Pagarelova, who is also Sveta Gurillo, met each other in the park. He just heard a stunning loud voice of a gorgeous Ukrainian girl who was laughing with her friend about being the person she wasn't initially supposed to be. Serik thought, LOL, and randomly joined the conversation with a similar story of his. It turned out that they lived right next to each other. Do you know these neighbors who are extremely friendly, can even hang out if there's a chance, but nothing more? That's exactly what they had become. At least, that is what I was told. Afterwards, their paths started to insensibly separate. She moved to Ukraine for 5 years, and he continued his career in arts. It seemed like the memories about their friendship, if you know what I mean, started to fade away throughout the years. Life goes on, tops were getting smaller, eyebrows were getting thinner, and colors were getting more and more ridiculous. It's 2000s.
By sheer coincidence.
The day X, let me call it that way, Serik was driving to work through the pouring Almaty rain when he saw a wonderful lady completely wet and cold trying to catch a taxi. Damn, she looks like she really needs a ride, Serik told himself and stopped the car near the stranger. The lady in a black sweater asked for a ride and gave him an address. At that moment, he realized that she needed to go to the opposite side of the city from where he was heading to, but as a nice person, he indeed couldn't say no to a beautiful lady. After a small talk, the conversation has gone to the point where they started to feel like they had already seen one another at some point. She turns her head towards him. He stops the car in the middle of the road, turns his head towards her. They looked into each other's eyes, and after an intriguing pause, they realized that they were those Sveta and Serik who lived next door 10 years ago. 3 years later, their relationship developed into having a wonderful baby girl named... Here we go again.
Epilogue.
A couple were trying to choose the most appropriate name for their child and chose a relatively international name, Karina. But guess what happened next in a maternal hospital? I think the spoiler is obvious since my name is Arina. The nurses just forgot to write the letter K in the documents. From that moment, I became Arina Yerdinbekova Serikovna. And as my dad often jokes, this has already become a family tradition. Believe in true love and faith. but more importantly, pay more attention to the things you write. Especially in a maternal hospital, okay?